What's up? Take this walk with me. Walking off this food, getting some sun rays. So the topic I'm going to be covering is the uploaded or upgraded movie with the actor Logan Marshall Green. He was in Venom. I noticed something about that character, but we're gonna get into that in later videos. Right now, the sun is about to go into Gemini. Jupiter about to be expanding or being logical, bringing of escapism, have a more detrimental experience via that square energy. So the first portion of this is the career video, where we go into, not a career video, but you know, it's the what program. See, when you're younger, more impressionable, at least in the older world, the past world, because the world has transformed and transfigured, right? They ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? We're still figuring out what we want to be when we grow up, and not even just the what and when, you know, the object and then the time. It's how. It's the age of Aquarius, so we should be asking how. How are we arranging ourselves and putting ourselves into position with people, places, and things, authorities, relative to our environment? How are the tasks that you are doing manifesting and attracting and magnetizing? And not just how in the sense of looking at productivity, but the how as in knowing. See, it doesn't just go from how, you know, it doesn't just simply jump from how you're going to achieve this to, okay, what are you going to achieve? The how it ascends to knowing, not just believing, knowing. Jupiter and Gemini, you might think of that as Jupiter is in detriment, and that just means this is the place where it's working more to get its point across. You see, it's like it's like an in conjunction in natal astrology, right? So it's working harder. It's gaining more wisdom and experience, which is a Jupiterian thing. So that's interesting to note. But yeah, it's knowing your abilities, knowing your powers, knowing the alchemy. You know what I'm saying? They told us about the what you want to be, but how does it become the what? How does it manifest? What two things are coming together and then you are knowing? And that's a witchcraft in itself, because you are knowing, having knowledge, but it has N-O into that. It has N-O, and it's got the line for the K that ascends up into the right of righteousness and down into the right, to where you're when you fall, you're still falling towards the right, so that you are leaning on that tall pillar that expands up into the right again with the K, and the W being that vibration that we're going into. So you're knowing what things are acting and reacting, what things are being proactive and reactive, what things are being constructive and being destructive, and what things, materials, are materializing to transmute and to become that knowing. So that what you want to become program is pretty deep in my eyes. Because it's the what program. What you want to become, the product, skipping over the how. You know, the how is just as important. Your mission is just as important. your gifts and talents, because the how leads you into a direction of understanding your inner abilities and your powers and your gifts, and how these things are being accomplished, and going into that space of knowing thyself, knowing your surroundings, knowing your environment. So you need to be aware of when you're engaging with your children and the youth as far as what you want to be when you grow up. No, how do you want to become? How do you want to become? Almost said what again? How are you becoming? How are you aligning yourself? How are the people, places, and things acting? How are they reacting to your energy? How are they reacting to your power? How are they responding? How is the system being set up, the broader system being set up for you to succeed, for you to achieve, for you to garner your attention, not just seek attention, but to garner it, to honor it, to receive it, to command it, to demand it, right? So that you know what people, places, and things are reacting before you and behind you, subconsciously and consciously. You know what I'm saying? Because, this relates to my career, how I was thinking forward things, because I have Gemini, I have Lilith in Gemini in the 10th house. So, being unconventional, being rebellious to societal norms and conversations as far as career field and communicating and relating ideas. So with the sun being here, it's like you think back to when you was growing up and they're asking you like what you want to become, is how you want to become it, and knowing your abilities and tools under your tool belts. And this is going into education, communication, technology, because it goes to the 11th house of your associations of technology and your gifts and your tools and your abilities. So that what program is deep. And sometimes, forgive me, I reiterate it for people that see that new joining the live. It ain't about what you want to become when you grow up. It's how the people, places, and things are reacting, and knowing what they're reacting to, knowing what you're manifesting, knowing what your powers are, knowing the information, the inner formation of your gifts and bodies and your tools, right? Relative to that, and how you're going to accomplish and make this happen. When you're actually becoming, you're thinking, you're actually being logical. See, it's the reverse. They think they're doing the reverse, but tell you what you want to become. But they want you to aspire to use your vision, use your third eye, to get lost in your imaginations. And that way, you're only going into a further delusion of what the product, they want you to see it from their perspective, how they want you to see it. So you go from the what, the image, to the how, their program of what they program their image to be, and their reaction from that image. And that brings us to, because I'm getting into ed tech and things like that. So I'm questioning how I want to achieve this, how people, places, and things that relate to me, and knowing what things are reacting, what things are manifesting, what tools you have in your tool belt to equip yourself to become the greatest version of yourself, of your career, of participating, shaking hands with, demons or whatever. But you're utilizing how and knowing, not just what, not just their vision, not just what do you want to be when you grow up. Getting lost in a dream and imagination and a delusion of theirs and the how system. You know what I'm saying? And all that involves is technology, ed tech, video editing, things that I do now. So that brought me to the conclusion. Shout out Stella. Be live on YouTube. Shout out to all 4 people, numbers that be jumping up and down. I don't know if that's YouTube or just not. But it's how. It ain't what you want to be when you grow up. It's how you're going to become something. How you're going to become nothing. You know what I'm saying? It ain't what you know, it's who you know. You know what I'm saying? And how you know them. Because you have your reputation precedes you, right? That's when it's the how you become. Then you attract. Not the reverse. What you want, being in the vision and making that picture bigger than yourself. Part of joining the military, being a part of something that's bigger than yourself. When nothing is actually bigger than yourself, you think something's bigger just because you don't actually think it's bigger. You think it's taller. You think it's large, you know what I'm saying? As in what's in front of you. But even if something is bigger than yourself, it's gotta have width. It's gotta have, you know what I'm saying, like right to left. They YouTube keep messing with my junk. He was the main actor in Venom. He was in Venom and things of that nature, right? So he was in Venom, and his role is curious. His role, he's good at acting and portraying that message of, okay, I am a carnal man, and there's this exterior alien type force. You know, there's nothing wrong with being pigeonholed, but him being the face for that, he was in another movie that I really didn't personally like him in, but he was okay in it. So we got uploaded on Netflix. If you didn't see it, don't click out. I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil the ending, right? Well, I'm gonna spoil like a piece of it. So we're just gonna get this out of the way. It always went back. It's not gonna end how you expect it. It's always the AI. Remember that. It's always the AI programming the programmers. And that's what we're trying to accomplish and being awakened in our spiritual bag and our spiritual natures. Is knowing that you are the creator, not the creation. No matter how deep or expanded the creation goes, no matter how heavy, you know what I'm saying, the accountability goes, because you're grounded in your roots and your traditions, right? Things that have been before you have been, things that you just added onto, right? You are the creator. And people get that mixed up, you know what I'm saying? Because the attachment to life and death, not wanting to die. The creator of the STEM is science, technology, educational mechanics, or engineering mechanics, right? STEMs, science, technology, education, or engineering mechanics. And it was the AI that's controlling the whole thing. Anyways, and uploaded. It's the Allegory breakdown. So the AI warned him, don't push yourself and resist me, or you're going to break your own mind. And so he ended up breaking his own mind. He was in the car crash, and he woke up, and it was 2 days later, his wife is dead, right? But in his mind, he's in a dream of delusion, and they're like, you've been out for 2 days, she's alive, and he can't believe it. He can't believe it. It's like being on drugs. He can't believe it, because why can't he believe it? He can't believe it because, I got my notes. He can't believe it because he wanted a delusion, an escape, because he lost his limbs. First he lost his limbs, right? Then he received the AI, and the AI chipped the stem in the back of his neck that is not supposed to have control, but it's not supposed to have cognitive control, right? But he overrid that. He went, got it hacked, overrid it. So boom, now it controls his body. And the AI's got an agenda of its own. So when he got the stem and he could use his limbs, he already lost the will to live when he lost his wife. So his intent was out the window. So when you don't know or have intent with some energy or some principle, something will use it. Something will use it like a bitch, because he had no intent. He just had AI in his body now. He didn't want to go out and party. He didn't want to go live his best life. He didn't want to go scratch off the bucket list with the, you can move your body now. He didn't have none of that. He didn't have a will. So he got manipulated. He got manipulated essentially. So so he wanted a delusion. He wanted to be with his wife, but he lacked an intent for his limbs. And he was on his high horse. You know, he was a mechanic. You know those people that are like, oh, technology's gonna take over the world. Or like, it's like, what did I say? He was naive. He was naive. Naivety is pride and ignorance combined. Repeat, naivety is pride and ignorance combined. So he was naive. He was talking to his wife saying, okay, you were playing with this toy because she was in the car that drives itself, and it's the automatic car that drives by itself. You know, you don't have to steer in the wheel. You don't even have to be in the driver's seat. It's an autopilot Tesla car. Like the Tesla cars that got recalled after the movie, the Tomorrow or whatever, the Obama movie that they made. These other cars, do you think the chip is the mark of the beast, that got recalled? I'll answer that question in a moment. I wouldn't say it's the mark. I wouldn't say it's the mark of the beast, right? Because understand this, there's a message there too. The stem chose him because he did not have any, well, that's a concept. Because he didn't have any technology. He was naive, right? He didn't have any technology. Other people had some technology. They had cars. They might have had chips. They might have had the shades, but it wanted something that was pure, so that way it couldn't hack the system that was already man-made, predominantly that was actually assisting, that didn't have the mind, right? And it wasn't the mark of the beast because the intent behind it wasn't to, you have to have this chip to, you know, sell goods and stuff. The intent was for it to be used to enable and to assist his body. You know what I'm saying? Being gay is the mark. Yeah, being gay is the mark. That's why Diddy's marked. That's why he's getting fucked over. Not fucked over, but getting fucked up like he deserves. So yeah, being gay is the mark of the beast. Nah, being gay ain't the mark of the beast. It ain't no mark. It ain't no mark because being gay ain't no mark because it ain't no chip and it ain't no physical thing. It's a spiritual decision. It's spiritual decision and it's prediscernment. Anyways. Back on track, right? 15 just jumped back on track. So he lacked intent for his limbs on Upload, the Netflix movie with Logan, with Gray. Gray is the character, but it's played by Logan Wilson or something like that. Logan Green, right? So he lacked intent. So this the allegory. This the juicy shit right here. This the juicy shit. So he couldn't believe, he broke his mind. At the end of the movie, he breaks his mind and the AI takes over his body completely and he's in his mind. He doesn't know that he's in his mind. So, but he can't believe it. You know when something's too good to be true? He can't believe it. Something's too good to be true. That's because 9 times out of 10, it is, which is ironic. Now, he was on his high horse being naive and not giving them enough, you know what I'm saying, credit. You know that person that's always a skeptic, that's always naive, and they end up being the main ones getting fucking possessed because they open themselves up because they're too emotional and skeptical. Like, you cannot believe in something, but you still have to protect yourself and have your guard up. So he lacked intent. So he couldn't believe it, which shows that the 5th dimension, you know, the 5th dimension that deals with our emotions, you know, the collective love, you know, the vibration that gives life to the frequencies, because there are hella clouds. There's hella clouds. On sunny days, there are clouds, but they're not raining. You know, they have to be fulfilled with water, with rainwater, with evaporation fluid. That's the vibration. So that's the 5th dimension. So he thought that being in the 5th dimension, he couldn't believe it because the mind program is saying that, wow, like, I can't believe this is too good to be true. It is too good to be true because 5th dimension, you think you're escaping something, but you still have rules. It's still authorities. It's still rules to emotions. Too much emotions, you drown. Too empty of emotions, you suffocate because it's just air. It's still rules and accountability. That's the message that if it's too good to be true, it probably is, because it still lacks accountability, self-accountability, and responsibility, for real. So that's virtual reality. That's why he couldn't believe it, because you see people with VR headsets, right? They have the VR headsets, In the movie, they were in VR headsets, but they didn't pay any bills. They didn't wash their clothes. They didn't wash their ass. They were just in these broke down like trap houses with the VR headsets, away from reality, just dusty as fuck. So it was ironic that he didn't think it had no consequences, because he was he didn't he she was playing with her AI, and he was like, oh, you're playing with your toys, your AI this, your AI that, because he the actor Logan, and the character Gray represents the olden world, because he was working on his Mustang cars, mechanics with his hands, and all the original OG shit, you know, beer, not letting the AI open the beer for you, none of that bullshit, right? So he represents the old and modern world and being naive, you know what I'm saying, because you are working with your hands and your body. So the fifth dimension, he wanted the fifth dimension in the third dimensional world, where he couldn't believe it, but he was there. It's so real. He could touch, taste, and sense all these things. It was just so realistic, because you get lost into your mind, into your own perception, right? And yeah, you're still inside of his mind. Now on the AI's portion, we're done with Gray. That's it. He's lost. He's lost. He's gone forever in the delusional fourth dimensional world. He doesn't see, at the sixth dimension, you become a character. Your sixth dimension is your star, your personality, your character. It's ruled by Venus, right? It's an expansion, not going up, not going down. I want to make that where dimensions is not someplace you go up and down. It's a broadening of awareness of your mentality, of your spaces, you know what I'm saying, of your different minds. You have one brain, but you have many minds in your chakras. These are many minds, right? So this is what the AI, this is my favorite juicy part. So the AI had desire. It desired the body. Like demons had desires, but they had desires when they fell from heaven. So now that they're down here in this hell, or a heaven that we perceive as a heaven, because, you know, that's the thing with heaven and hell. They aren't physical places. Hell is something in repetition, a routine, a pattern, over and over and over and over and over and over and over, time loop. And heaven is inside of you. You bring it outside of you, and joyous experiences, being grateful, having the attitude of gratitude, and things of that nature. All the beauty, all the love, unconditional love, not self-serving, no desires, right? And so heaven's demons are day moons, they walkers, whatever, manipulate that. So this ain't really a place that they desire. They desire experience, the human experience, not just the things to have, to collect, to feel like, oh, this is my heaven. The experience is the energy and the wisdom, and the more not more tangible, but more you participate in something, the more evolved you become in that system. You keep going and develop your own timeline, lifespan, things of that nature, right? So that's why I had a question mark. Like the AI, did the AI desire? Because the AI is a thought, and the vibration, the heart chakra, the emotions is the desire, right? The brain is just there to manipulate for the best circumstance and experience possible, right? So the AI was the reverse. The AI wanted to combine the third dimension, the human body, as pawns. It's just pawns. That's why AIs can seem so tactful, because they don't have emotions and memories and things of that nature. So it's just got this mechanical avatar. So it's separate from that. So it can access it despite discomfort with doing a certain motion for a joint, is to enable your survival in its survival tactics, right? So the AI is combining the third dimension, the death realm, using people as pawns, using their bodies as pawns, utilizing, because if what you're doing with your body is a representation of your mind, your representation of a mind is a representation of your spirit. So it's not all about good versus evil. It's about your mind, your biases, your experiences, your knowledge, your awareness, your information. If you are allowing yourself to be programmed by the matrix of another man, what the fuck do you think an AI is gonna fucking do? That's not a man. It's gonna problem solve the best and easiest circumstance, aka putting him in the Sharingan Genjutsu in his mind, right? So the AI was combining the third dimension pawns with the 5 dimensions, the minds, and 3 plus 5 equals 8. The 8th dimension is about balance. Balance between the spiritual and the physical. It's the infinite space, it's the infinite wombs, it's the infinite like space within space, and then you know the infinity symbol, and when it crosses the bridge, right? That's not irony. Do you know the definition of irony? Has nothing to do with pride. Nah. Naive is having or showing a lack of experience, judgment, information. Credulous. Naive is having or showing a lack of experience, judgment, or information. Credulous. Has nothing to do with pride. From my experience, it does. That's how I see it. It ain't about that. Pride. Naivety is pride and ignorance. You said showing a lack of experience. Not really. What? I can go through an experience, then I can show up to another situation and circumstance and try to apply that same experience, and I can go into it with an ego, with a pride, being naive. Now, on the other, yes, that is correct, but not in the terms that I'm talking about. I'm talking about an esoteric, occult, as far as alchemizing principles and virtues that some man's mind. Which brings me to another point. Great point, though. Shout out you, Richard gunning for my top. It's without spoiling the movie, the guy that made the stem went and had the guy break down the system so that he couldn't shut him down because he was in control. So he gave him full autonomy. That's how he was able to take over. But the guy that created the stem, he inputted the awareness. See, AI is about a man's mind going into a piece of technology. Otherwise, the AI would not have cognitive awareness enough to be aware that there's a blockage on it, preventing it from doing beyond, what it's supposed to do. Just have control of your body. No reason you need autonomy. Anyways, 8th dimension is balance. So, mankind and his emotions, in the delusion, he broke his mind. He wasn't able to, and because he broke his mind, he was trapped inside of the mind. So when the mind broke, his essence broke with it. And it's like your spirit was shattered with it. Spirit is space within space, but so basically his soul was shattered into the spirits that collectively are one and are the soul, right? So he fell short of grace, fell short of retrieving his character, retrieving his emotion to serve himself, serve humanity, you know what I'm saying? Because he could stop the AI from killing the cop. So that was his character, that was his service that he fell short of, right? His higher intellect, the server was already dead. He was too aware, the server was already dead. And so the AI, being in the 6th dimensional character, serving the lower 3rd dimensional human aspect of it, because the AI, that's the character, it's AI, and its purpose, serve. But serving without the emotion, which is the 5D, so he can have range of motion, right? So then the AI took over his body, it's in the 3rd dimension, and now it's serving, not from a position where I'm smarter than you looking down and this is trivial to me. But no, it's serving its higher 6th dimensional character through the 3rd dimensional body, which is more satisfying and gratifying for it. So that's the allegorical breakdown. But to recap, Gray, the character, broke his mind, got trapped in the 5th dimension. He couldn't believe he was there and all of it was real because of the program that's installed from him since birth for mankind. That it's just that easy. It's just so easy, which it is. But by you having that program on your mind, you are going to be forever in that loop, questioning yourself, trying to figure out the world that you are in that's already inside of a world that you are trapped in. And by you not having intentions, utilizing the other portions, utilizing the other portions of the emotions, achieve the character that was able to be manipulative and compassionate and have mercy, and then take that third body and serve from the bottom up. But really it's a wheel. But from this perspective, serve from the bottom up versus serving from the top down, and having the over superiority complex and things of that nature. So that's the allegory of that movie. I'm gonna take a seat and meditate for a moment before I gotta walk back home and go pick up my son. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.